So I was able to beat New Game Plus 7 on all 3 Sorcerer subclasses recently, and I just wanted to make a quick video to showcase the builds I used, while also going over what I found to work best on Sorcerer in general. To start off with, between these 3 subclasses, I think when trying to beat the game for the first time, or for lower New Game Plus levels, I think all of them work well and feel decently strong. Lightning is able to vaporize entire enemies in a line instantly with this lightning ball, making it able to clear floors extremely quickly. Fire has great survivability with its HP leech, while also having good damage as well to defeat both enemies and bosses quickly. Ice is a bit slower in open map types, but in maps with hallways it is able to clear quickly with Ice Nova bouncing, and also most bosses when using Ice Nova at point blank range. Once trying to push past New Game Plus 3 or 4, Fire is the clear winner as its survivability remains high, as it will constantly leech HP passively with its Flame Wall ticks, as well as Elemental Orb ticks. Its damage also remains decently high since you can place multiple flame walls down at once, and since each one takes every 0.5 seconds, it adds up to a lot of damage on both normal enemies and bosses. Lightning retained its fast clear speed due to Lightning Bolt doing really high damage against normal enemies, but it having a cast speed while also only hitting a single time against bosses means that it begins to really struggle with boss damage, combined with having no real way to sustain HP other than potions, means that you have to play Avatar extremely well, or you will most likely end up running out of potions as you won't have the damage to burst him down. Ice, similar to Lightning, has no HP sustain out of the potion, but its boss damage is quite good due to being able to shotgun Ice Nova at point blank range. Its main downside is that you have to be at quite close range, so it can be a bit dangerous to clear floors, plus if in an open map like Forest, it tends to struggle a bit more as there are no walls for the Ice Nova projectiles to bounce off of. So starting off with the actual builds, we have Lightning Sorcerer. For skill point priority, I recommend initially leaving Discharge and Elemental Orb at 1 or 2 points. I would immediately max out Lightning Mastery and Lightning Ball as they are the main damage, followed by Innate Power and Elemental Master. Here's where I'd attune a few important trinkets such as the Spell Power ones and Spell Crit ones, before coming back and maxing Discharge and Elemental Orb as they help out a lot with boss damage. For these skill upgrades, I start with Mana Surge from the Magic Shop, just so that I don't have to worry about mana. I also do not take any levels beyond the first one as it tends to be overkill. You could also take Chain Lightning from Magic Shop just to remove all of the other discharge element options from the pool, but beyond that I would prioritize Uncontrolled Power, Power Surge, Energized Ball, and Elemental Penetration. I also like taking Elemental Equilibrium and Elemental Torrent as they help with killing the Lightning Wisps and Dark Holes with Elemental Orb. Gear-wise, I recommend Powerful Dirk with Vulnerability, and then a Tomb and Offhand with Destruction. For prefixes, I recommend Lightning Damage %, Intelligence, Spell Power, and then Vitality. For suffixes, Cast Speed, followed by Golden Reduction, Boss Damage, and Spell Damage. Since Lightning Bolt is a charge skill, Cast Speed is a must in order to get the full damage out quicker. I currently use 2 pieces of focus gear to meet the focus requirement for Cape, and 1 piece with Vitality for HP and regen, and then I put 40 more points into Vitality just for safety, as I found without it I was getting one-shot by a few boss attacks. The remaining points I'll go into Intelligence. For food, I default to the Undead Damage Bread. For drinks, I recommend Spell Crit Rate, Spellcast Speed / cooldown, and 25% Lightning Damage Drink. In terms of playstyle during the run, charging Lightning Bolt will be enough to one-shot most groups of enemies. If there are any stragglers, I tend to go around the corner, and this will make the enemies walk towards you along the edge, making it really easy to line up a second Lightning Ball and finish off the rest. In Dark Holes for the Lightning Wisps, since they have high lightning resistance, I rely on Elemental Orb to kill them, which can be quite slow, since the orb also moves very slow, but having more upgrades for the orb projectile does help with this. Bossing is where Lightning really struggles, since most bosses are in an open arena, so once the Lightning Ball hits the boss, it will be unable to bounce back for another hit, so Discharge and Elemental Orb will be the majority of the damage once Lightning Ball's on cooldown. Now on to Fire Sorcerer. For skill point priority, I recommend initially leaving Discharge and Elemental Orb at 1 or 2 points. I would immediately max out Fire Mastery and Firewall, followed by Innate Power and Elemental Master. Here's where I would attune a few important trinkets such as the Spell Power ones, before coming back and maxing Discharge and Elemental Orb. For these skill orb upgrades, I like starting with Helium Flames from the Magic Shop, just to not have to worry about not getting it for quite a few floors. You could also take Scorching Rays from the Magic Shop just to remove all the other discharge element options from the pool. Beyond that, I would prioritize getting 1 level of Mana Surge, then prioritizing Uncontrolled Power, Power Surge, and Elemental Penetration. I also like taking Elemental Equilibrium and Elemental Torrent, as they help with killing the Fire Whips and Dark Walls with Elemental Orb. Taking wall placement is up to preference. I play with controllers, so I find it a bit awkward having to place it down, but it's up to you as it does the same damage either way. Gear-wise, I recommend Powerful Dirk with Vulnerability, and then a Tome and Offhand with Destruction. For prefixes, I recommend Fire Damage %, Intelligence, then Spell Power followed by Vitality. For suffixes, Cooldown Reduction followed by Cast Speed, followed by Boss Damage, and then Spell Damage. I currently use 2 pieces of Focus Gear to meet the Focus requirement for Cape, and 1 piece with Vitality for HP plus Regen, and then I put 40 more points into Vitality, as even though I gained my HP back incredibly quickly, I still found out without it I was getting one-shot by a few boss attacks and ranged enemies. The remaining points I'll go into Intelligence. For food, I default to onto Damage Spread. For drinks, I recommend Cooldown Reduction, Spell Crit Rate, and the 50% Spell Damage drink. In terms of playstyle during the run, on floors with little to no range, I tend to drop Flame Wall and then run in circles to have them walk over it multiple times. If they are ranged, I place it in a way where they have to run through it while I run into a corner, leaving their line of sight. For bossing, I drop Flame Wall once off cooldown and then spam Discharge and Elemental Orb in between. Finally, we have Sorcerer. For skill point priority, I recommend initially leaving Discharge and Elemental Orb at 1 or 2 points. I would immediately max out Eye Mastery and Frost Nova, followed by Innate Power and Elemental Master. Here's where I tune a few trinkets such as the Spell Power ones, before coming back and maxing Discharge and Elemental Orb. For the skill orb upgrades, I start with Mana Surge from the Magic Shop, just so that I don't have to worry about mana, but taking Razor Frost to remove the other discharge options from the pool works as well. Beyond that, I would prioritize Uncontrolled Power, Power Surge, Frail Seeker, Frail Splinters, and Elemental Penetration. I also like taking Ice Block for survivability, and Elemental Equilibrium and Elemental Torrent, as they help with killing the Ice Whips and Dark Holes with Elemental Orb. Now gear-wise, I recommend Powerful Dirk with Vulnerability, and then a Tome and Offhand with Destruction. For prefixes, I recommend Ice Damage %, followed by Intelligence, then Spell Power, and then Vitality. For suffixes, Cooldown Reduction, followed by Cast Speed, followed by Boss Damage, and then Spell Damage. I currently use 2 pieces of Focus Gear to meet the Focus requirement for Cape, and 1 piece of Vitality for HP plus Regen, and put 40 more points into Vitality just for safety. The remaining points all go into Intelligence. For food, I default to the Undead Damage Bread. For drinks, I recommend Cooldown Drink, Spell Crit Rate Drink, and Nice Damage 25% Drink. In terms of playstyle during the run, in open maps, you kinda have to run around the enemies and slowly get them all down with the Ice Nova plus Discharge, but in floors with lots of hallways, I generally only have to press Ice Nova once, and the majority of enemies will be destroyed. For boxing, make sure to press Ice Nova when in close range so that shotguns a few of the projectiles. When Ice Nova is on cooldown, I spam Discharge and Elemental Orb. That's all I have for today's video. I apologize that it took a while for this one to come out, as I've been pretty busy the last few days unfortunately. Since the incoming balance patch for weapon and strength builds should be coming really soon, I'll be holding off on the final 2 classes of Warrior and Ranger until the patch is out. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and hope you have a great rest of your day.